It looks like players of all types were eager to get their hands on Core Set 2020, which supplied 9 of the 10 spots on our list this week. Blue and green dominated the count, with several cards coming from one deck that's already making its presence felt, but more on that in a minute. Number 10, Leyline of Anticipation from Core Set 2020. The new London Mulligan rule could have a huge impact on not just how games play out, but also in choices for deck construction, especially with Leylines being a part of Standard. Last week, the green one made our list, and this time it's blue, but they'll probably all get a chance to shine as players experiment with how best to make use of a free spell in the starting hand. Number 9, Frilled Mystic from Ravnica Allegiance. This is our only non-Core Set 2020 card on the entire list, and it's a key part of the blue-green flash deck that's been making early waves. Capable of playing almost entirely on your opponent's turn, the deck does a great job of disrupting control strategies, which means it matches up perfectly against the popular Teferi decks that have been plaguing the format for months. Number 8, Bishop of Wings from Core Set 2020. Angels are flush with support right now, and the Bishop fits into the curve right under Angel of Vitality, able to play defense against aggressive red decks and then loop forever with Divine Visitation. Bishop of Wings helps the top-heavy Angel decks buy the time they need to assemble a game-winning Air Force. If you're looking to experiment with this strategy on the cheap, MTG Goldfish just updated their 30 casual decks for under $20 series, which now includes a rotation-proof mono-white Angels list. Number 7, Tail's End from Core Set 2020. With over 80 Planeswalkers in Standard currently, it doesn't hurt to pack a few ways to answer them. Tail's End can counter any Planeswalker because they're all legendary spells, but even if you miss that window, you can still counter any of their activated abilities. The best time to do that is when they tick down for an ultimate, and remove all the loyalty counters from their Teferi as they go for the emblem. But even just stopping Narset from finding more spells could give you the opening you need. It's too soon to tell if Tail's End will replace Negate in Standard, but every blue commander deck is going to want a copy, if only to keep opposing commanders off your back. Number 6, Risen Reef from Core Set 2020. Elemental decks that manage to resolve a Risen Reef can quickly run away with the game, and it's easy to see why. The card either immediately replaces itself, or adds another land to your side of the battlefield, which sets you up for even bigger following turns. The Teamer version of the deck is extra explosive, usually following Reef with Scampering Scorcher and getting triple triggers out of it. Then they sit back and wait for Omnath Locus of the Royal, or Nissa Who Shakes the World to show up and put all those extra elementals and lands to game-winning use. Number 5, Agent of Treachery from Core Set 2020. The only thing worse than having your best creature or planeswalker stolen is having it happen twice, and there's a Sultai deck that uses Yarok the Desecrated to make the agent do exactly that. You might think Agent of Treachery costing 7 mana means you're safe from it for a while, but the deck actually can put it into the graveyard with Chart a Course or Discovery, and then cheat it into play with Bond of Revival way before you're ready for it. Even with all the doubled up abilities thanks to Yarok, the deck might not be suited for more than casual play. Agent of Treachery, however, has no problem slotting into blue commander decks, where expensive cards with big effects are given more room to shine. Number 4, Val of Summer from Core Set 2020. New cards being introduced to a format can get people immediately thinking about what the next best deck will be, while some players go one step beyond that and ask themselves how they'll beat what everyone else thinks will be the best deck. Val of Summer is a Swiss Army knife against the blue and black decks that currently make up the top tiers of competitive play. Esper Control, Teamer Elementals, and even the Yarok Reanimator deck we just talked about. They all make use of blue cards, black ones, or both, which means green decks can use the Veil to get a leg up on them after sideboarding. Number 3, Spectral Sailor from Core Set 2020. The top 3 cards this week all hail from the same blue-green flash deck that included Frilled Mystic. Spectral Sailor's ability to draw cards punishes an opponent who passes their turn back to you without trying to play anything, and gives you a way to use your mana on their end step when they offer nothing for you to counter. Some versions of this deck also make use of the fact that this is a pirate, and run a few copies of Lookout's Dispersal as a cheap and versatile counterspell. Number 2, Nightpack Ambusher from Core Set 2020. The flash ability lets you sneak this onto the battlefield during your opponent's end step, and then be ready to attack with it on your turn. But more importantly, this is another card in the blue-green deck that advances your own game plan of not playing anything on your own turns. With the Ambusher out, your own army will grow for free since you're not casting anything, and then you just counter anything your opponent tries to do on their turn. Usually permission decks like this have to give up some amount of offense, or take a turn off to play a threat which puts their own shields down and gives an opponent a chance to play their own cards. But Nightpack Ambusher allows you to keep the pressure on and your mana open, which is what makes this deck so successful. Number 1, Brineborn Cutthroat from Core Set 2020. It's fitting that the card that benefits the most from playing cards on your opponent's turn also happens to be our top card of the week. This innocent looking uncommon can grow huge, and once again having Flash himself means he can sneak in during an end step and be ready to attack shortly after you untap. The only creature from this deck that didn't make our list was Merfolk Trickster, but that's probably because everyone still has their copies from when Mono Blue Tempo was winning the first Mythic Championship. The rest of Blue-Green Flash is super affordable, especially if you already have your shock lands, so don't be afraid to buy into this one and give it a run at this week's FNM. Let me know how it performs for you in the comments, then like this video and subscribe to the channel to keep up with future top 10s.